What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on Draftkings for Wednesday, March 17th. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. Finally, let me know in the comments section who is your favorite and least favorite of my contenders for today's slate. We're rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with Larry Nance, Norm Powell, I didn't even expect that, Andrew Wiggins, Jeremy Grant, and RICHAUN Holmes on the outside looking in, who will be my favorites, my top 5 plays for today. It's time to find out. First up, number 5, I'm looking at TYRESE HALIBURTON. Point guard, shooting guard eligibility, just 5,500, projected for 31 goals, 41, optimal lineup 20% of the time. I think his minutes are going to slowly climb, and now I am giving him 30. We have no Marvin Bagley moving forward, broken hand. So 30 minutes for Haliburton, just over a fantasy point per minute. 18% usage, 14, 5, and 4 baseline. But this is the real big piece here for Sacramento and for Washington. This is a massive, massive, massive pace-up spot for the Kings. They are gaining 4.9 possessions over their average. That is basically like playing an extra 2.5 minutes of game time. Huge. That's giving TYRESE HALIBURTON, like, if we just played this at a neutral pace, TYRESE HALIBURTON would be projected for like 28.8 fantasy points, 29 fantasy points. Moving him up to 31 is huge. 2 fantasy points is a big deal. And that is why you're seeing Haliburton get to the number 5 spot. The pace is massive. The dual eligibility is helpful. And I think the increased minutes, or at least the potential for increased minutes, is enough to get Haliburton into this top 10. Now, if you're looking for value, look no further than number 4, TOMAS SATORANSKY. Point guard eligible, but 3,800. Projected for 24. The goal is 35. He's in the optimal lineup 21% of the time. I think he's playing 28 minutes. He could certainly play more. He did yesterday. He is now in the starting lineup. 0.87 fantasy point per minute projection, but minimal usage. So 15% usage, 9.5 points, 5.5 assists, 3.5 rebounds. It's a pace neutral spot against San Antonio. What you're doing here is buying minutes at a pretty cheap rate. 3,800 for a starting point guard that's going to play 28 minutes. That's just going to have to be a value piece on pretty much every slate. Satoransky is solid. He's not like a 0.7 guy where things are really kind of gross. 0.87 is a very reasonable rate. I wish it was a better matchup, but what are you going to do? Satoransky for 3,800, just play him. We're staying on the Sacramento Kings for number 3, Nemanja Bjelica. He's power forward center eligible, just 3,700. I'm only giving him 24 minutes, but this is one of the biggest variables here. I don't know Hassan Whiteside's status yet. If he ends up out, I think Bjelica can see even more minutes. Hasn't played in a while. But 3,700 for Bjelica now that Marvin Bagley is out. I think that there is some ability to get extra minutes. Projected for 1 fantasy point per minute in this game. Clearly the huge pace-up spot against Washington. This game fits him perfectly. 23% of the time, he's in the optimal lineup. And he gets the forward and center eligibility. That is incredibly helpful. 24 minutes sort of seems like a floor for Bjelica. I think that he could get to 28 in a reasonable scenario. Either way, at 3,700 with the MPE and the best pace-up matchup on the slate, Bjelica is a perfect value play today. Now, I know this one's going to sound pretty ridiculous, but please, just hear me out. Sterling Brown at number 2. Shooting guard and small forward eligible. So this is a 10-game slate, and I can put him in 5 of the 8 spots. Shooting guard, small forward, guard forward, utility. You know how much I love it. He's 4,600. I think that's a reasonable price tag. Projected for 29. The goal is 38. Optimal lineup 25% of the time. Again, a lot of this will have to do with the news that comes out for Houston. I have Christian Wood playing about 24 minutes. Limited run-ish for Ben McLemore. We're not going to have Victor Oladipo, at least that's my expectation. So I have Sterling Brown getting 35 minutes. Now, he's basically like a 0.78 fantasy point per minute guy normally. The matchup against Golden State gives him enough of a pace boost to get him to 0.83. So we're talking 12 points, 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, maybe a stock and a half. I just expect him to play a ton of minutes because he has to. They just don't have enough bodies on the Rockets right now. Now, if everybody somehow gets ruled in, Sterling Brown's just going to play less minutes and not be here. But if this goes the way that I think it does, where they have 8 or 9 active bodies, then I think Sterling Brown is going to play well north of 30 minutes and be an outstanding value option across guard and forward. Now, before we get to that number one contender, one last reminder to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, subscribe at awesemo.com/join using the promo code SHAMROCK. It's the last day that you can do it. Get a week of Awesemo Plus for half off. Go do that. Then head on over to Twitter. Follow me at Josh Engleman. It's the only place that you can get my updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. And then finally, don't be afraid. Underneath the video, there's a comment section. Head into that comment section and let me know who your favorite and least favorite of my contenders are for today. Clean sweep at the number one spot. If you've already watched my FanDuel video, then you know that it's Kevin Porter Jr., just point guard eligible. Weird. 6,800, projected for 43. The goal is 46. Optimal lineup 36% of the time. He is quite clearly the best play on the slate today, and it could get even better depending on how the news truly breaks. Basically a 1.2 fantasy point per minute guy at 36 minutes. Big time usage, 20 points, 9 assists, 4.5 rebounds, and an absolutely massive pace up spot against Golden State. I'm not sick of rostering this guy yet. I'd imagine no one else is. I assume I'll have an absolute ton of Kevin Porter. It's a 10-game slate, but I don't think it matters. He is clearly the best play on the slate, and it might even get bigger by the time we get to lock. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on DraftKings for Wednesday, March 17th. Go watch the process show. That's already been recorded. Go watch the FanDuel contenders video. Also already been recorded. Strategy show with Dave Loughran, Laffy at 10 a.m. And then live before lock tonight with myself and Greg Ehrenberg. It's a full slate of Josh for your Wednesday. What better way to celebrate hump day than with me from start to finish? Good luck tonight, everybody. We'll be back again tomorrow with another edition of the Contenders.